All right, everyone. So, you want to talk about Miami real estate.
Seems to be the hot topic these days, Raul.
Like crazy, and I know you've been getting bombarded with questions, too.
Oh, tell me about it. Everyone wants the inside scoop on whether to buy, sell, or just sit tight.
Exactly. And, like we always say, forget the hype, forget those clickbait headlines, because today we're going deep.
Deep dive time.
You got it. Someone sent us this article. Is the Miami real estate market still booming? And, it's a fair question, right?
Definitely. There's been a lot of talk about a slowdown.
Right. So we're going to unpack all of that. We're diving into the nuances of what's really going on in the Miami market. So buckle up.
Let's do it.
Because here's the thing, and this is what I found really interesting. Miami's market is not like a one-size-fits-all situation.
Not at all.
The article actually mentions this right at the beginning. It says, it's a mistake to think of Miami real estate as one big thing.
Oh, 100% agree. I always say real estate is hyper-local. I mean, what's happening in one neighborhood might be completely different just a few blocks away.
Right, like even within, say, Miami Beach.
Totally. You could have an oceanfront condo that's skyrocketing in value, while a place a few blocks inland might be stagnating. Miami's like a mosaic. All these little micro markets, each with their own unique vibe, their own factors influencing prices.
That's such a great point. So like someone listening who's thinking, okay, I want to buy a condo in Brickell, they can't just assume it's going to behave the same way as like a single-family home in Coral Gables, right?
Exactly. You got to zoom in. You have to look at those individual pockets to really get the full picture.
It's like those real estate maps with all the little neighborhoods color-coded, right? You got to look at the detail.
Exactly.
Okay, so speaking of zooming in, one area that the article highlights is the luxury market. And get this, it's like a total feeding frenzy up there at the top.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking like anything over $10 million, it's just a land grab right now.
Supply and demand, baby.
Right. The article specifically calls out gated communities, those waterfront properties, as seeing crazy competition.
Of course, because everyone wants a slice of that Miami paradise.
Right. But seriously, the numbers are kind of mind-blowing. Like, they said inventory for homes over $10 million in Coconut Grove, it's down something like 40% year over year.
Yeah, that's massive. And that scarcity just fuels the fire, drives those prices even higher.
It's bananas. So even if things might be, cooling off a little bit in other parts of the market, that top tier is still red hot.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, luxury real estate, it's not just about the property itself. It's about the lifestyle. It's about exclusivity, and that never goes out of style.
Okay, so you brought up cooling off, which reminds me, the article also uses this word stabilizing. What does that even mean in this context? Are we about to see a crash?
Yeah.
Because I don't do well with crashes.
No, not a crash. Take a breath. Stabilizing just means we're shifting from that, frenzy of the past few years to something a bit more reasonable.
Okay, reasonable. I like reasonable.
Right. One indicator of this is inventory. The article actually says that new listings in Miami Beach are up, so that means buyers have more choices.
So less of those crazy bidding wars and people throwing laundry money at each other.
Exactly. Plus, we can't forget about interest rates. They're up, which encourages buyers to be a little more, shall we say, cautious.
So not a market collapse, but a market recalibration.
I like that. A recalibration. Prices might still rise, but at a healthier pace.
Okay, I can work with that. So, I always like to put on my detective hat when I read these things.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
What are the questions this article didn't answer? What's the missing piece of the puzzle?
The stuff they don't tell you. Well, for one, the article paints a picture of Miami as a whole. But is that really accurate? Are these trends consistent across every single neighborhood? Or are there variations we're not seeing?
Right. Like, just because there's more inventory in Miami Beach doesn't necessarily mean it's the same story everywhere else.
Exactly. And what about the bigger picture? The article barely touches on things like, Miami's economy, job growth, those migration patterns. All of these factors play a huge role in where the market's heading.
So much to think about. Okay, so someone's listening to us. They're ready to dive headfirst into the Miami real estate market. What are the key takeaways they should remember from this deep dive?
All right, number one, Miami real estate is not a monolith. It's all about location, location, location. Break it down. Understand those micro markets, those little pockets.
So don't just assume that what's happening in one part of Miami is happening everywhere.
Exactly. Number two, luxury real estate marches to its own beat. Scarcity, exclusivity, those are the driving forces there.
And it sounds like that's not going to change anytime soon.
Nope. And finally, stabilization. It might not be as sexy as a boom, but it's a good thing.
It signals a healthier, more sustainable market for everyone.
Precisely.
Now, here's something to chew on, listeners. This article was laser-focused on residential real estate. But what about the commercial side of Miami? I'm talking offices, retail spaces, investment opportunities. That's a whole other can of worms.
A can of worms for another deep dive, maybe.
Exactly. But for now, we'll leave you with that thought.
Until next time.
On to the next one.